Today's episode is brought to you by The Girl Cave LA. With 6 locations to serve you, The Girl Cave LA is the premier Black woman-owned beauty supply. This Black woman-owned establishment is committed to giving back to our communities and helping our girls to become self-sufficient trailblazers. Make sure you drop in and tell them Girl Which Way sent you. Hello, and welcome to the Girl Which Way podcast, the show that exists because life is a journey, but you still need direction. Grab your girls and get ready because each episode we'll be talking about our real life issues, answering questions, and building solid relationships with one another as we heal and learn. I'm your host, your girl, Shalia Vinny, and today we're going to be talking about self-love. We'll discuss the ins and outs of self-love and how we can actually get there. Make sure you listen to the end because we're going to be offering a special surprise to some of our listeners from our sponsor. Don't miss out. Now, ladies, we all know that we are all struggling in some way with self-love, whether it's, do I like myself enough? Am I attractive enough? How do I fit in? What's my social status? I mean, in some way or another, we're all struggling with self-love. So what is self-love? I mean, is it the way we feel about ourselves? Is it how we like ourselves? Is it, an internal thing like, well, how is my soul? Or externally, like, how do I look? Is it all of the above? I mean, what exactly is self-love? So I looked up the definition, and the definition says it's the regard for one's own well-being and happiness, chiefly considered as a desirable rather than narcissistic characteristic. So I know I said the same thing. What? What does that even mean? But really, I think it's just saying that it's how we feel about ourselves and how we take care of ourselves. And it's not something that we should feel sorry about or feel guilty about when we are putting ourselves first and making ourselves a priority. I really feel that self-love is really making ourselves number one. And we should be. Ladies, as women, as young women, we are always focused on how everyone else feels and what everyone else has going on. But this is the one time when we are supposed to be caring about ourselves. I wrote about self-love in my best-selling book, Little Girl, Don't Get Lost in This World. And there's a specific quote that I want to share, which is, the world is full of insecure girls trying to one-up each other because the truth is they're all hopelessly insecure and too terrified to be honest about it. The reason why I bring this up is because as I've been studying self-love and kind of talking to so many different women from so many different walks of life, one thing has become very apparent to me. Is it that we lack self-love, or are we trying to measure ourselves up to unrealistic standards? Because sometimes we kind of get this confused, and I just want to talk about this a little deeper. Because at this point, studies have shown recently that our impression of ourselves is at an all-time low. There are higher levels of suicide than ever before. People are battling depression at higher rates than ever before. But the question is really why? What has convinced us that we are so mediocre, and how much does it affect every other area of our lives? Because something has shifted in our mindsets, in our realities maybe. I'm not really sure what it is, and maybe you can kind of shout this out in the comments or, send me a message about what you guys think. But don't you think that there must be something to this, or have we just all decided that we don't care about ourselves anymore? Now, if you're really honest with yourself, you don't hate yourself. You don't have any issues with yourself. So I beg to ask the question, and this might ruffle some feathers, but is it possible that social media could have an impact on how you feel about yourself? I mean, I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers, but remember, I am someone who is old enough to remember a time when social media was not so prevalent and really was non-existent. This is before MySpace came into the picture, and things were a little different. I mean, of course, we still had issues here and there, but I think things were very, very different. And I believe that with the advent of social media, we have really, really misconstrued what beauty is and how our bodies are supposed to look and what our standards are at this point. I mean, we're looking at these unrealistic expectations. We're fawning over these women who don't even look like that anyway. When you take off the filters and the makeup and the body surgeries and the plastic surgeries and all these things that they've done to look this way, and you're sitting around hating yourself for being normal. I saw this meme that someone posted that said, "You're not ugly, you're just poor." And I mean, it sounds funny, but it's actually quite true. Because I think if we took away social media, a lot of us would really discover that no, we don't hate ourselves. We're just trying to compete with people that we think we need to be competing with. And do we even need to be competing with them? I mean, because if you really think about it, your body is fine. You don't hate yourself. You ever notice how you'll be getting dressed and you're super cute today? You feel good about yourself. You're like, "Ooh, look at me. Hey, I'm popping in the mirror. Look at my clothes. Look at my shoes. My hair is on point. Okay, I got a good day." And then you go outside and you walk past Miss America and you're like, "Oh my God, I hate myself. I'm so ugly. Look at my hair. I'm so unattractive." And it's like, what happened? Like, why were you fine a few minutes ago? You were having one of your all-time best days. You were feeling yourself and everything. And then as soon as you walk by someone that you thought was more attractive than you in one way or another, all of a sudden you're not measuring up anymore. That's literally how social media works, because we are literally scrolling past Miss America all day long, and we fail to understand that they have tweaked these pictures, they have edited them, they have teams working with them, they have staged the crap out of these pictures, but we don't see any of that stuff. All we see is how my breasts aren't big enough, and my booty's not popping, and my face is not, beat like this, and I'm just not attractive. And this is part of the problem, and nobody wants to admit it. If you were not on social media, scrolling through social media, you wouldn't have any reason to be feeling bad about yourself. Your body is perfectly designed to do what it's supposed to do. You're able to walk, you're able to stand, your body is functioning exactly how it was created to. You don't hate your body. Your problem with your body is, my booty's not big enough, because social media has told you that you need to get a bigger booty, or your breasts are not big enough because social media has told you that your breasts need to be bigger and your waist needs to be smaller. And this is why you are starting to doubt who you really are. But your body is not who you really are. If you stop looking at your body as an object and start to appreciate it for everything it does for you every day, I guarantee you the way that you think about yourself would change tremendously. You are looking at your body as something that it's not supposed to be. You weren't supposed to be made like that. God didn't make a mistake with you. He did what he did to you on purpose. You are one of a kind. You are one of one. You need to learn to love that and to accept that about yourself. So yes, for me, I think social media is a huge reason why we have decided that we don't love ourselves. But I really want to talk about how this plays out into the rest of our lives. Because if we don't love ourselves, that's got to have catastrophic effects on the way we live. And you would be right about that. It sure does. Ladies, we got to get this self-love thing under control, because if we don't, it can show up in our lives in all sort of profane ways. So what are some of those ways that our lack of self-love can really wreak havoc in our lives? I mean, there are so many ways that we might not even be realizing how this affects us. So number one, how about when we think that we don't deserve any better, or that we're not worthy of anything good coming our way? We start to doubt everything, like, why would they pick me? Or you can't even accept a compliment without pointing out what's wrong with you. Someone could just very genuinely say, "Oh my God, you look so pretty today." And you're like, "I know, but as soon as I lose weight, or I don't like the way these jeans fit me," or whatever it is, because you're so used to not feeling valuable that you can't even accept the compliment. How about you accept the compliment and internalize it, because you are good enough? We don't come out of our shells. That's another big reason that this affects us. We don't come out of our shells because we fear people are going to dislike us. But the truth is, we don't even like ourselves. Other people could really like us, but we don't give them the chance to, because it's self-sabotage. That's really what it is at its finest. It's self-sabotage. We use words like, "Oh, I'm shy," or "I'm an introvert," because we're trying to justify it. But the truth, my good sis, is you're not insecure, you're not shy. The truth is, you lack confidence and everybody knows it. Just tell the truth. Number 3, you're unkind to yourself. That's a huge issue. Like, you're so unkind to yourself. Oh my God. Some people use drugs. Some people try to overcompensate by buying expensive clothes and designer handbags simply because it makes them feel more worthy. Others don't feed their bodies or their minds anything useful. And so it makes it worse because they continue to spiral downhill because their waistlines keep growing bigger, but their mindsets keep growing smaller. We cover it up with makeup and plastic surgery, and pretty soon we've morphed into someone we don't even know. And guess what? We are still hopelessly insecure and unhappy. You know why? Because you can't cover it up and you can't buy it, no matter what they tell you. Another big way that this comes into play, not loving ourselves, is we're settling for anybody just to have somebody. We feel so unworthy that sometimes we settle for any guy that will approach us, knowing full well he's not a catch, but we talk to him anyway because we don't believe we deserve any better. Here's the secret. This guy also approached you for the same reason. He can smell your insecurity from a mile away, and he's going to exploit it at every turn. Other people know that you don't love yourself, even when you're trying to hide it. Guys will always treat you how you tell them to treat you. You will always set the standard. If you're not presenting yourself as someone who matters or someone who is worthy, why would they treat you as such? If you don't love yourself, chances are you are so afraid of being alone that you lower your standard just to have someone in your life, even if he's a lowlife. You let him treat you like an option because you don't think you deserve to be a priority. Girl, you better wake up. Don't be her. You are so worthy. You deserve better. But in order to get better from others, you must first give it to yourself. You can't keep numbing it with your vices. You're going to need to face your feelings sooner or later. The saddest thing in the world is being bullied, and there's no escape path because you can't run from yourself. Today's episode is brought to you by The Girl Cave LA. With 6 locations to serve you, The Girl Cave LA is the premier Black woman-owned beauty supply. This Black woman-owned establishment is committed to giving back to our communities and helping our girls to become self-sufficient trailblazers. Make sure you drop in and tell them Girl Which Way sent you. So we've been talking a lot about self-love and what it looks like and how it looks when it's absent in our lives. But how do we build it? Like, is that something that's even possible? What can we do now that can have an impact on our self-love for ourselves? So here's 5 ways you can immediately start to love yourself better. Number 1, how about we start speaking positively to ourselves? Kindness is so important. It seems like we're nice to everybody else except ourselves. If you start to speak positively to yourself, you will believe what you tell yourself because faith comes by hearing. What do you like about yourself? What do you have that works for you? Count your successes instead of your failures and the things that you don't like about you. Number 2, strip down in the mirror and tell yourself what you love about yourself. Take off your clothes. Get by yourself. Just stare at yourself in the mirror. Get comfortable with your body. Love yourself, no matter if you're a size 0 or a size 18. It does not matter. You have to look at yourself and find something that works for you. Girl, I don't care if it's your kneecaps. You better rock your sexy knees if that's what you have that works for you. Number 3, stop being a people pleaser. Everything you do is done in the hopes that you can just get by unnoticed and you'll do anything to be accepted by others because you haven't really learned how to accept yourself. Today, right now, learn to say no to others. What makes you happy? What are you settling for because it makes others happy but does nothing for you? Cut it loose today. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. We're done. We're moving on with that. Number 4, girl, get dressed. Put on your favorite outfit and do your hair. That simple and effective adage is still true. When you look good, you feel good. It's true. You know it's true. Lots of us are at home right now because of the pandemic. We haven't been able to get cute in a while because we might not have anywhere to go. Girl, put those heels on. Wear that outfit that makes your body pop and makes you feel like $1,000,000. Look at your fine self in the mirror and soak it all in. Girl, you are a whole vibe. Stop sleeping on yourself. Get dressed so you can feel good about yourself. The number 5 and the key to it all, declutter, declutter, declutter. Clean it all up. Clean out your closet, clean up your room, wash your linen, clean out your car, your workspace, wherever you're working at, whether it's at school or at work, wherever you're sitting to work, clean that area up. Clean it up. Studies have shown that cleanliness boosts your morale and makes you happy. But we aren't finished yet, okay? Last thing I want you to do, I want you to clean up your social media. Delete any and everyone that makes you question who you are. Delete anything that doesn't inspire you. Get everything and everyone off your page that is associated with drama. If you are scrolling your social media and it wreaks havoc on your self-esteem, your emotions, or your peace, clean it up. Replace that stuff with positive affirmations and motivating images only. You can control what you are seeing. Once you clean it up, dare I say it, why don't you take a social media hiatus for a minute? Resist the urge to scroll. Even if it's for just a week, I want you to clear your mind and your feed. And when you do come back, because you have already cleaned it up and everything is nice and, positive now, you'll come back refreshed and you'll see those positive images that can keep you on the right track. The goal is to make a commitment to do something to better yourself, to learn something new, and to just really make a commitment to making yourself a priority, because you have to. Remember, self-love is not narcissism, is not being selfish, it's absolutely necessary, period. Okay, I admit it. Self-love can be hard. It's a daily job to show up and love the skin we're in and the person we are at our cores. I mean, it's hard, but it's not impossible. Like anything that's worth anything in this life, it just takes work and practice. You have to practice loving yourself until it becomes second nature. You'll face many people who dislike you throughout this life. You can never be one of them. You must make a vow to never stop evolving and working on being better than you were yesterday. Today's episode was brought to you by the Girl Cave LA. Please like Girl Which Way on IG and Facebook and join the Girl Way Nation on our Facebook page. We will be randomly choosing a few of you to give some lovely Girl Cave LA gift cards so you can switch up your look today. Don't miss out. Remember, good, better, best. Never let it rest. Till your good is better and your better is best. Until next time. Your friend and motivator, Shalia. Bye.